CIF Player of the Year, 2010 Orange County Player of the Year, LA Times Player of the Year, Max Prep California State Player of the Year, California Mr. Baseball. He was drafted by the San Diego Padres, but decided to attend Arizona State University.
I mean, there's so many kids, so many adults who need to know that they can do what he's done.
And he's such an inspiration. What a great pick.
Wonderful, wonderful kid.
Story.
Best of luck to you, Corey, and that is tremendous out of you, Arizona Diamondbacks.
Well, I kind of grew up from a baseball family. My parents both played baseball and softball, so they both played in college. So when I was basically, it was a baseball family. So from the second I could start walking and stuff like that, my dad was putting bats and balls in my hand and seeing what I could do and stuff like that. So I started really young, and I started playing like t-ball and stuff when I was 3 or 4 years old. So I played really, really young, and then I just kind of fell in love with it ever since. By the time I got into high school, I really realized that I wanted to be a baseball player. I knew that I had the chance to be good enough, and I knew I had an opportunity to play collegiately or professionally in that sense. So once I got into high school, I really started to take it seriously as I got older and stronger. Just kind of like build my tools and build what I had and keep progressing. And that's obviously the goal, is to each year get better and better, and hopefully obviously leave with a college scholarship or opportunity to play professionally in that sense. So that's kind of how it went, and I just kind of made the mindset to where I wanted to get better and better each and every year. My senior year was I got to end it on a really good note. We ended up winning our championship for our state championship, and so that was obviously the main goal. All the personal accolades are just bonuses that come along with winning.
It's impossible to describe right now. It's just trying to take it all in and all that stuff. It's just the way this team has been all year. It's definitely a special year for us, and the moment is it's undescribable.
They just kept on battling the whole year. Every time they got knocked down, they picked themselves up, and Corey Hunt, great leader, showed us how to do that. Just amazing game. Him and Ty pitching a perfect game. Can't say enough about it.
I've known Corey now for about 4 years. We met in the dorm, so I came in as a freshman with Corey, and he was a talented player. You were able to see, what he could do on the field and how he could just play the game of baseball. But what's really cool about Corey is how mature he was for a freshman and how awesome he was just as a person, more or less than anything. And so it was really cool getting to know him through the dorms and being able to live with him and talk with him and hang out.
I first met Corey when he got to campus here, coming from California. Another great player that we had coming in, highly recruited, considered the best in the state, coming from such a big state. I definitely knew he was a good player.
I was really fortunate enough to have a lot of different colleges who wanted me to come play for them. I had a lot of different scholarship offers in that sense. So for me, it was just narrowing down the options and figuring out what was the best fit for me. And so location wasn't really too much of an issue. I didn't really want to go back east because I wanted to be close to my family, but I kind of just weighed it, what would be the best fit for me that if I go to college, you know, want a great, obviously first and foremost, a great baseball school, and then obviously academics and a social life. I wanted to have, you know, a life outside of baseball as well. I wanted to, you know, have a school, a football team type stuff, you know, big school like that. So I was looking forward towards that. And when it came down to that, ASU really fit the mold. Once I came out here to visit, I kind of fell in love with the place. The weather, obviously, the baseball, everything here just fit what I was looking for. So once I came out here and actually got to visit and spend time out here, I was pretty sold, and I actually made my decision while I was here that I was going to come here.
There rarely goes a day where I don't look at second base and just think, well, that's where it happened. That's what happened to Corey there.
Opening weekend, being a freshman and being able to start here at ASU was obviously a huge goal of mine, and I made that possible. So obviously it was a very exciting weekend for me, one for as a team, and then for me individually as well.
That weekend we were playing New Mexico. I believe we were supposed to have 4 games. And one of them got rained out, so we had to have a doubleheader on that Sunday. So the conditions weren't great, but we were still able to play some baseball.
It was the last game of the weekend, and it was just another game. It was just another game, another thing like that. I was up to bat and I drew a walk and was on first base. We had runners on first and second, and we put on a double steal.
You saw the throw, you saw the second baseman jump, you saw him come down on top of Corey, and then you kind of, I'll never forget how silent it was.
When I slid in, like I've done thousands of times, I kind of equated to the perfect storm. I slid in at the moment that the second baseman was kind of coming in, and like my head just hit his knee just in the right spot and kind of like bent my neck in a weird direction.
The bony spine was designed to protect the spinal cord, so the spine and all the supporting ligaments are there to protect the spinal cord. So in instances of trauma, what happens is that the spine, either a bone breaks or a ligament ruptures, something happens to take away that ability of the spine to protect the spinal cord, and then the spinal cord becomes injured.
You were just praying that he just do something. You just pray that he move something. He just laid there kind of just almost like you knew something was wrong. You knew something was just not right.
My body went numb instantly. So there was no pain, nothing. I remember laying there and I remember, okay, get up, and I couldn't get up, and it was like, I was like, I didn't really know what was going on. I kind of thought that maybe this is like a stinger or something very simple. And I just remember laying there going, okay, well, I hope it comes back, and next thing you know, the ambulance is here, they're getting me on a stretcher, and next thing you know, I'm heading to the hospital.
The coolest thing about it, though, is that Corey, was able to make a joke in such a traumatic situation. He was able to ask, Ez as he's coming out there, and he knows that something's wrong because he's been there down there for 5 minutes, and he goes, well, was I safe? And he goes, yeah, you were safe. And he goes, damn right I was safe.
You don't hear of anything like that, especially in baseball, happening so seriously, and just kind of the perfect storm happened where even you didn't think that sliding the way it did, that it would cause that type of problem. So
doctors were all surrounding me, talking to me, and I was like sitting there going, I can't talk back, because I was annoyed because it's weird. It's a weird image, but I had like 3 tubes going down my throat. I couldn't move. My neck was in a brace. I couldn't do anything.
There's no playbook for a situation like that. There's no guidance that you can really kind of seek to deal with that.
And after the game, everybody needed to go find out what happened. So they all, at some point that night or the next day or something, we all went out there and to check on him to see what had happened and get some more details because nobody really knew.
The family is in a healing process. I'm happy to say and very proud to say that Corey is in the healing process right now. And as of anything, our team is now in a healing process.
Yeah, they kind of told me right away. Once I was like clear conscious and woken up and kind of out of that like dazed sense, and they kind of told me what happened, and I was, you know, really not listening too much because once they kind of told me the initial prognosis, I was very frustrated obviously with that and obviously scared for my life, and I stopped listening. But yeah, they had you know, doctors talking to me, my parents, and kind of just relayed kind of what my life's going to be like, and that's where you know, that's where it all got really scary.
Dealing with patients who have spinal cord injuries is difficult, and you take somebody who is an otherwise healthy person and put them into a situation where their life has changed is definitely difficult. I think the most important thing is never to take away hope from a patient. So I don't tell patients you're never going to walk again or anything like that. What I do say is we need to focus on what we have, and we need to focus on trying to get as good as we can, and also hopeful that we're going to come up with something that's going to be effective to treat.
The thing is, Corey handled it better than anybody. You know, it was you know, every day was just a struggle for him. I can't imagine, but he never showed his emotion. He never showed how bad it was.
I'm very fortunate with my support group. I have you know, so many people at ASU that support me, my friends, people I've met here, just people I don't even know. Obviously back home with my high school, and people I grew up with, my friends back home and families back home, and then obviously my parents and my brother.
You believe? I do. No. Yes, you do. Because I believe in you. You know what made you laugh? You got it pushed down on your right as well.
Hold on.
There you go. Good, Corey. So would that be the first time?
Yep.
Yay! First time release. Now Connor's bringing us those handbags for nothing. Look at you! Good job! That's how Corey Hahn does it.
Very recently out of UCLA, some researchers took an electrode and put it on the spinal cord, and were able to play with the frequency that the electrode generated. And what it did was stimulated the spinal cord, which then caused muscles to fire. So in other words, we got patients' legs who couldn't move normally to move. Now they weren't necessarily moving them themselves, but the machine, the electrode, was causing the stimulation that made them move. But if we could capture that and be able to program a computer, for instance, to make that synchronized motion, we could probably get people to walk again.
Yeah, I remember visiting him out there at the hospital he was at, or the rehab facility he was at, and the whole team went out there, hopped on a bus when we went to the LA games.
Once I got back, I got out of the hospital and I was hanging, you know, at home, and I realized I was like, I don't like, my life is going on, and I'm sitting here watching TV, doing nothing. My friends are in college, you know, they're all doing their own thing, and I'm sitting here, you know, with my parents each and every night doing nothing. And I just remember, I wanted to finish school, and I remember telling my parents, I want to go back. I want to go back to ASU, and at least give it a try. And if not, I'll come back here. I can go to school in Southern California and be on with it. But I want to try. I want to give it a chance. And my dad goes, well, I'm going with you then.
He actually is on track to graduate within 4 years because during that whole time, he was taking his classes online. Even during his rehab, he was doing all that stuff. So it's pretty amazing what he's done to be able to be on track for that.
And when I first got back, I thought it was going to be simple, and it really wasn't. Getting to class, getting everything organized, and getting used to being out, and you know, the biggest thing was just being able to get you back to used to being in public. I mean, it's different. You know, you get self-conscious. Nowadays, this really doesn't bother me too much, but you know, that first little bit, you know, being in a chair, you know, people look at you differently. That, you know, it just that whole adjustment period of being back to just being normal life it was tough. I knew that mentally I was okay. I wanted to be back with my friends, and there were so many, like, there was a lot of cons to it, but the pros definitely outweighed it, with being back at school, being around people my own age, making me feel like a kid again. Because I mean, once the injury happened, I was basically a patient. You know, I was in a hospital and sitting there being almost like worked on by doctors and stuff like that. So I was basically a patient. In rehab, I was a patient, and then at home, I was just there. You know, but back here, I became a kid again. You know, I kind of had a chance to be with my friends and have some sort of a normal life. It's been awesome. It's cool because, I mean, you know, the fact that ASU, you know, they wanted me to come back, not only just to be a student, but to be part of the program. And, you know, they welcomed me in with open arms. And the fact that they kept me around the program and keep me involved, it's awesome that they allow me to have that opportunity and to be able to come back and be with be with the kids I've been with and meet new guys and make new friends. And just be a part of the team for the last 4 years. It's awesome that the fact that they've given me the opportunity, and then I just kind of took it and ran with it and made it to where I want to be as active as possible with the team. And obviously I have my life first, where I go to school and I have my rehab and get those things out of the way. But when I'm not there, I'm here, and it's awesome to have that opportunity to be able to call this place another home, and to have a bunch of guys around that I root for them as much as they root for me.
Corey is an inspirational speaker to our team all the time. Every game he's here in the dugout, sits there, gives the guys knuckles whenever they get the hit, whenever they need to do. He's always around. Very inspiring though. He's talked to our team a few times when we need a pickup, so definitely like a player coach.
Corey Hahn is still a great asset to this team because of what he went through. And he would have had an illustrious career here. He would have been a first-round draft pick. He would have been everything that ASU is accustomed to in terms of players. But what Corey Hahn has brought to us that nobody else has is just the ability to fight, the ability to never give up in the midst of no hope. And that you can't actually find hope in a situation where it seems that all is lost.
Homers for Hahn at Monterey High School Saturday for the second annual Trinity Bat Home Run Challenge. Many of the top high school and college players joined several minor leaguers to hit home runs and raise money for former modern-day legend Corey Hahn. In 2011, Hahn broke his neck sliding into second base 3 games into his collegiate career at Arizona State. Today, while still paralyzed, he has a positive impact to big leaguers like Angel slugger Mark Trumbo.
It's mind-blowing that I have this much support daily, and these are people that are always reaching out to me, and the fact that we can get everybody here together and have a good time and enjoy a great day of a home run derby. It's truly remarkable what's going on in the event that it is, and the amount of people I have here helping me out.
One of those people includes 10-time All-Star and Dodgers great Steve Garvey.
In life, you're thrown a curveball sometimes and a changeup, and I also think he understands that when God does that, you take it and you work with it, and you hit a home run with it.
The Arizona Diamondbacks decided to honor a paralyzed player who went to Arizona State. The kid's name is Corey Hahn. He wore number 34, thus he was drafted in the 34th round by the Arizona Diamondbacks. Unfortunately, he broke his neck sliding into second in 2011. He has been paralyzed from the waist down, the chest down. However, he is trying to make a comeback, not necessarily in the sport, but simply in life. He's now rehabbing. He hopes to one day walk again. I certainly hope he will. However, the team president said this very quickly. I didn't want to draft him and let that be the end of it. I talked to him Monday and told him, let's find something for you to do with us during your last year in school. And when you're finished, we'll have a job for you in baseball operations or scouting.
I didn't expect it. I mean, I had a heads up. Coach Tim Esme called me probably a week before the Major League Baseball draft happened, and he goes, hey, I've got a phone calls from a few different organizations who have thought about doing this. He goes, would you be okay with that if one of these organizations decides to draft you? And I go, yeah, if they want to do that, then I have no problem with it. I'm going to take it as a huge compliment in that sense. So he gave me kind of a heads up that something might happen. But I asked for who or what teams. I had no idea. So I just remember I was actually in Florida. I was going down there to receive an award for from the NCAA for interscholastic athletics and in school and stuff. And so I was down there, and I was sitting in the airport coming back. So I've been down there for a few days, and I got a phone call from the Diamondbacks as I'm boarding my plane, like, you know, telling me, hey, we're gonna do this for you and all this stuff. And I got the phone call literally 2 minutes before I took off.
This is Derek Hall, President and CEO of the Arizona Diamondbacks. We proudly and humbly select redraft ID number 9577, Hahn Corey, center fielder, Arizona State University, hometown, Corona, California. In his second collegiate game, Corey Hahn was sliding headfirst into second base, collided with a second baseman, suffered a C5 fracture of the spinal cord, leaving him paralyzed from the spine down, or from the chest down. We are proud to make him a part of the Diamondbacks family. Yeah.
That's one of the happiest things I've been a part of, being here, is seeing that, and especially the symbolic of drafting the 34th round, being number 34 here at ASU, and then also kind of seeing the inside part of it, where the D-backs weren't the only team that were going after him. He was kind of a legitimate draft pick, where there were more than one team going after him. I'm sure a couple of schools in California probably were, but trying to figure out when they were going to draft him, and he's going to be valuable in that pick. He could be more valuable than a 34th round pick normally, so you never know. But it's kind of cool to see that teams were wanting to get him just because of the way he is, and like I said, his attitude towards life. It will definitely translate wherever he goes and with the Diamondbacks organization and beyond. So.
This is someone who has such a great outlook on life, and he's such an inspiration to so many, that when the idea came up from our scouting department, it was actually, even before this year, we talked about it before, when he was not draft eligible. And so it was something that we wanted to do. We just didn't know when, where, how. When they came up with the idea for a 34th round, with Corey having worn 34, to me, as I said before, it was a no-brainer.
Being a baseball player, I understand, how the draft works and how it's meant to build the organization and to, for future years to come. And the fact that even though that's the case, that they decided to make this pick and have me drafted, it's something that me and my family will be forever thankful for. It blew up on its own, more so than I even thought. The amount of phone calls and texts I got and messages I had gotten once I got off the plane and the following months to come was amazing, and it was something that I didn't even have to celebrate it because everybody else already was celebrating it for me.
Corey Hahn was a star ball player until a freak accident on the field left him paralyzed.
ASU baseball player Corey Hahn suffered a life-threatening injury during a game, leaving him paralyzed.
I don't just applaud them for what they're doing with Corey, but for what it stands for in general.
I'm not one to really make a scene anyway, so you wouldn't know if I received any news at all, so.
It's never as bad as it seems. There's no bad days. And it's easy to look at your own personal life and say, well, I wish this was here, I wish this was there, I wish I was doing this, I wish this was going for me, or, and it's all these I wish things, or this woulda, coulda, shoulda. And you're able to look at Corey, and I'm sure Corey goes through the same battles that we go through on a day-to-day basis, that woulda, coulda, shoulda. What if that didn't happen? What would I be doing? Where would I be at now? Well, what Corey taught us and what taught me personally is that the ability to fight that thought, the ability to not entertain that idea of woulda, coulda, shoulda, but almost just your situation is your situation, and you're gonna make the best of it no matter what.
Fortunately, as a kid growing up, my parents always taught me to never take days for granted, never take what we've been given for granted, so I never really did. But now that I'm living that life, I've really realized, for myself and for everybody around, that each day you wake up, you just don't know, what's gonna be given to you that day. You don't know what you're going to experience, and to never take days off, never take days for granted, because you just don't know when whatever you're doing is going to be taken away from you. When I was in the hospital, I realized, okay, I can sit around here in the hospital, I can sit around in my house all day long, do nothing, and be fine, or I can get out and go out and live my life. But regardless, I realized that life is going to go on. Life isn't stopping for me or for anybody for that matter. Once I realized that, it made it really simple that I want to get out and live my life. I mean, I might have some limitations and some sort, but I'm going to live it to the best of my ability. And then, you know, that was kind of like what I've taken from this, that you know, whatever you're given, that you can either take it and turn it into something great, or you can just sit there and do nothing. But either way, you know, life isn't stopping for you.